Hello everyone, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to talk about the news of Christian Bale being confirmed for a villain. But that's just a part of the conversation that I'm going to have right here today. For the most part, this video is going to be about Marvel's villain strategy. Now, Marvel, in the beginning, especially in phases 1 and in phases 2, and mostly in phases 2, they had a villain problem. Now, I personally didn't think it was as bad as people made it out to be. I personally think that both Killian, Eldritch Killian, Eldritch Killian, and I'm trying to think. Damn it, what's his name from goddamn Ant-Man? Yellow Jacket. I thought that all three of them, Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket, were serviceable villains. I also thought that Obadiah Stane was a serviceable enough villain. I thought that Red Skull was actually a pretty decent to good villain, and I thought that Loki was a great villain. So, but admittedly, they did have some very, very bad and bland villains. All three of those names I just named that I thought were serviceable, they weren't the memorable. They weren't standout performances. I only remember the names because I remember the movies in their comic book counterparts. Once again, also the Mandarin was a mixed bag. There are parts of that Mandarin story that I do enjoy and parts of it that I didn't enjoy. The ideas of it that I didn't enjoy. I enjoy the concept of the idea of Mandarin being a manufactured idea for a created thing. So to give the people something to point at, so you can do your actual business behind the closed doors. But I didn't like the idea that they pretty much made the Mandarin not real, and I thought they were going to go for a concept of the Mandarin is real, but this Mandarin that we're showing you isn't the real one. But they didn't. They did something different, and and I didn't mind it. I'm one of the people who really does enjoy Iron Man 3, but I can understand other people who don't. I can honestly understand that. And like I said, and the MCU is aware of this. They're aware of the villain problem. Ultron was another villain that I thought I enjoyed Ultron for what he was, but he should have been a lot better. He should have been a Loki or a Thanos or a Killmonger level villain. Ultron's just a disappointing villain. I don't consider Ultron a bad villain. I think he's a disappointing villain. I think there was a lot of meat on that bone and a lot of story, especially when you get someone like James Spader to come in and voice this character, who did a great job voicing Ultron. There's so much more for Ultron to do. And I'm not one of the people who didn't like Ultron because he quit, because I always thought that that's the difference. That's the difference between Ultron and Brainiac. Is Brainiac is this cold, heartless, calculating. He almost takes no joy in doing what he's doing. He's just doing it for whatever sake. But Ultron is kind of a hypocrite because he hates humanity and he thinks humanity is this, yet he is more human. Yet his behavior and the way he thinks and the way he acts is more human than a lot of other people. So I didn't mind James Spader giving him quips and giving him more of a sense of humor, because I'm like, well, that's the point. Ultron's supposed to have a bit more. He's supposed to be a hypocrite. He's supposed to be like he hates humanity, yet the way he behaves is more human than machine. But I digress. Ultron was definitely a letdown. So Phase 3 came around, and Marvel, for the most part, decided to go with this one strategy. And this is the Marvel strategy. Except for Captain America Civil War and Ant-Man and the Wasp, this has basically been their strategy. We're going to hire the biggest actors, Oscar award-winning actors, Academy award-winning actors, actors who are known for being thespians and being in these movies, these these major indie movies, and these actors who are true stars who will get the buzz. They said, we're going to get these actors to play the villains. And it started with having Kurt Russell as the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Kurt Russell, big name, Kurt Russell. Snake Plissken, Big Trouble in Little Chinatown. The Thing, Kurt yeah, Kurt Russell has a lot of fucking clout, Getting Kurt Russell to be in that as the main villain, as Ego, was a big deal. It was a massive deal at the time, getting a name like that to be the villain. And then they got Cate Blanchett, Academy Award winning, Cate Blanchett to play the Hela in Thor Ragnarok. And then they got Josh Brolin, Academy Award winning Josh Brolin, to play Thanos. You know what I mean? And then that's kind of been their strategy. Then they got Academy Award winning, Academy Award nominated Jake Gyllenhaal to be their villain in Spider-Man Far From Home. And like I said, it's kind of become their strategy. Even to a lesser degree in Doctor Strange, Mads Mikkelsen has he's a name, Maybe not as big as these others, but that's like I said, it's kind of been their strategy to get these known name actors, these big known name actors who, even if you don't know who they are, you know their names. You've seen their faces, you've seen them in something. They got hell of a respect in the business to get these guys to be the villain. So because Marvel's strategy, and it still hasn't really changed too much except for Infinity War, is that the hero gets the bulk of the story. This is the hero's story. The hero's name's on the title. It's not Batman and the Joker. It's Batman. So we're gonna focus on the hero. We're gonna focus on the hero. We're gonna focus on what he feels, how he thinks, the journey he's going through, the trials and tribulations of him, the friends that he has, all these things. And the villain is there to either be a living obstacle, a living obstacle in some cases, or a living representation of the hero's journey and what he's overcoming. Which is why a lot of times it's like literally Obadiah. I mean, it goes right back to the first Iron Man. Obadiah represents who Tony used to be. He kind of represents a awful, even worse version of Tony, because Obadiah's selling weapons and he doesn't care, and he's willing to kill anyone to get a profit. And Tony probably thought of himself like that before the movie. And also, that's kind of what Marvel started to do, is like they made the villains reflection of the heroes, and like the villains living representation of what the hero either is the opposite of or trying to overcome. And that's kind of been Marvel's strategy, and it still is for the most part Marvel's strategy. Like I said, except for a couple of occasions, which is Hela also representing like the truth of Asgard behind the fake of Asgard, because the whole movie Thor Ragnarok is literally about that Asgard's not a place, and that your parents aren't perfect. Sometimes that people have secrets from you don't know, and the Black Panther also played with that too. The idea that T'Challa's father did something wrong a long time ago, and that you have to be better than the generation before you, and that's what it's about, being better. But the fact that Marvel focuses on the heroes, it doesn't leave as much time for the actors playing the villains. And that's kind of been something that people have lamented in the MCU, is that they really don't give the villains a lot of screen time because they're focusing on the hero. Because Marvel, and I think that's one of the MCU's like formula, like a part of the MCU's formula too, is to focus mostly on the hero. And like I said, except for Infinity War, because Thanos was such a big deal and they hadn't really shown Thanos, that they had to put Thanos in this movie. They had to give Thanos the majority of the screen time in Infinity War. But I digress. So if you're gonna give an actor that amount of little time to develop their character, to get into it, to show off what his abilities or her abilities, you have to get actors who can perform it perfectly, who can perform it great, who can nail it the first time. You have to get these big name actors who you can get to nail it the first time, who you can get to be great in this role, who can take it to another level. You can't really experiment and get some no-name actor, at least for the most part, because I did get an actress I hadn't heard of to play Ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp, though she is on a show called Killjoys, and she's been on that show for quite a bit, so it's not like she's a fresh off the boat actress. But you know what I mean, like they get these actors, like that's why they go for these big names for the villain roles, because they know, they're like, look, you're only gonna get 25 minutes of screen time, maybe. So we need you to make that 20 to 25 minutes count. We need you to make an impact in 20 to 25 minutes. We need the best actor we can get who can make an impact in that short amount of time. And that's why they go for the big name actors. The problem with going for the big name actors, if you ever wondered why Marvel continues to kill off their villains, it's because they cannot sign. Because the reason they're able to get these big time actors is because they don't sign is because they tell them not to. It's because they give them the offer not to sign multiple year deals. It's the reason they were able to get Kate Blanchett. It's the reason they were able to get Josh Brolin. It's the reason they were able to get Jake Gyllenhaal and things of that nature. Is because they tell them that you don't have to sign a multi-deal, contract. You could come in, you can nail this role, and then if we want you to come back, we can come back to the negotiating table. That's a bit different with an actor like Tom Hiddleston, or even the actors from Ant-Man and the Wasp, or even Daniel Brühl for that matter. I love Daniel Brühl. I loved him in Rush. Rush is one of the greatest all-time sports movies I've ever seen. Nobody's ever seen Rush, but it's one of the greatest all-time sports movies ever. The first time I saw Chris Hemsworth in something other than Thor, and I was like, this dude can act, man. And Daniel Bruhl was great in it. He was great in it. And he was also great in Inglourious Basterds as well. So Daniel Bruhl he's not a name, he's not like a big name. So it probably was a little bit easier to talk him into doing a multi-year contract. And Tom Hiddleston wasn't a name at all, so it's easier to get him into a multi-year contract. The girl playing Ghost was in a name, so it's easier to get them into a multi-year contract. You see what I mean? The characters who they can get to come back are actors who aren't big time, but it is difficult to get an actor who's big time to commit to a multi-year deal where literally they can be working on a project and the project you're working on takes precedent over all the things that they want to work on. Now, granted, Marvel has become, from what I've seen of Marvel over the years, they have become a bit better with that. I mean, for crying out loud, Scarlett Johansson was filming Endgame, Infinity War, and she still managed to be able to pop out Jojo Rabbit and A Marriage Story, 2 films that got her Oscar nominations. So it's not like Marvel makes it impossible for you to go do other movies. It's just, it's really difficult knowing that in the back of your mind, if they need you, you got to drop whatever you're doing to go do it. I say all this to say that a lot of people are going to be upset, but Christian Bale will be a one-off villain. He is not coming back. He is not playing a big-time villain. I mean, he might be playing a big-time villain, but he's not playing any villain that they need to come back multiple times. Because there's no way there's no way in hell that they can get Christian Bale to sign a multi-year deal. He's not that kind of guy. He's an artiste. He's always out doing different things. Ford v Ferrari, things of that nature. Christian Bale that's the kind of guy he is. So, that's just gonna have to be what it is. Like, even with Michael Keaton, it seems like Michael Keaton signed a multi-year deal, but it doesn't. I don't know that. Yeah, he's in the Sony thing, but I don't know if his deal was with Sony. So I'm surprised they were able to get Michael Keaton. If Michael Keaton signed a multi-year deal, I would have been surprised. He might be the exception to the rule of a big-time actor signing a multi-year deal. But even then, I don't know. I don't remember hearing him say he signed a multi-year deal. So maybe he did something new to get in that movie. But like I said, I digress. But that's been Marvel's strategy, and I'm excited to see who Christian Bale is playing. I just want to get it out there ahead of time so that people know that don't be upset when they kill him off. Because I've seen a lot of people who are upset that he kills certain characters off. You wasted Hela, or you wasted this dude. Unless they get some no-name actor, they're not going to be able to hold these guys to these huge multi-year contracts. And the MCU is just and at the end of the day, the movie's about the heroes, and that's been the MCU's bread and butter. It really has, and the MCU has figured out that as long as the villain's serviceable, at the end of the day, if the people love the hero, they love the story, they love the characters, and the villain is serviceable, that's all we need. And that's kind of been their strategy, but they have stepped it up, getting actors like Michael B. Jordan and stuff like that. They have stepped it up to go, you know what, we're not going to change our structure, but we can make the structure better. We can do more inside of our own structure. We can heighten it up. We can just get better actors and give them better material to work with within the small frame within the small time that they have. So I can't wait to see who Christian Bale's playing in Thor: Love and Thunder. Don't be disappointed if he dies, because he probably will. So thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.